All right, Luca Nation. Through
Guys,
that,
you don't
like,
know what goes into this. You guys have no idea. He's about to do his intro. I just spent the last 10 minutes being told about all the terrible things in my life. And now I'm going to do an episode, and I'm happy about it. I'm going to do a nice, fun episode. And even though my co-host here is right, and he says it from the heart, and he wants me to get healthy, leading up to the holidays, because he knows I'm going to eat a 20-pound turkey myself with all of the stuffing and the gravy. And when we talk about nutrition, he every time has to talk me out. I swear it's true that gummy bears are a food group. He tells me they're not, but I read it somewhere, and I'm sticking to that truth. Gummy bears and Swedish fish are their own food group. So, I come in with a little bit of a headache today, and he's like, come on, man, you gotta take care of yourself. You gotta bring the episode for Luca Nation. You gotta bring the energy. You gotta put on your big boy pants. And what's fun about it is, like I said, I know it comes from a place of love. I know it comes from a place of, he'd rather see me healthy and happy and the whole 9 yards. But it's not going to happen today. So it's time for a Twix bar.
remember we used to get negative reviews when I was eating during the episodes,
Oh, yeah,
like
man.
in
Well,
the early days?
Yeah, you can't eat during the episode. I wish I want to eat on the episode. But you know what? You ate once, and I had a crackling headphone set that was like 3 years old for the first 55 episodes. So, we really brought it. We really brought it in the beginning.
Keith, I look at you a lot of ways like I look at my father, right? Like you have a lot of life experience, but I also believe that you guys have been conditioned to live,
Here's where you're wrong. Because I don't look at your mother the same way your father looks at your mother. So clearly, you shouldn't look at me like your father. Because it's not that case.
I'm not so sure you know that because I have a Jewish mother.
Oh, God. No. Jeez.
Okay.
No
and
good.
Given
No
what
good.
we've talked about offline in the last 24 hours, do you renege that statement?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I can't be your dad because I don't look at your mom the same way your dad looks at your mom. Your dad's your dad. I'm just an older gentleman. I'm just an older guy here who I did not have anything to do with you being born. I don't think.
A big thing I was saying to my parents, because they worked for 30 years for the man. And my dad had his own business, but honestly, he came out of those 30 years looking like he worked for the man. I always wished them, I was like, guys, take a year and travel. Go see other cultures. Go live in a warmer climate.
Where would you travel if you could travel? Not to Mexico. That's your home. Where would you travel right now? Where's the one place you would go?
In what
doesn't matter
stage of my life?
You can.
How much money do I have?
You make it very difficult. Just answer a question. If you want to say, "Hey, you know what? I have the money I have now."
I would move to Miami if I were you and you and the missus.
Not you. No, not me. Not me. What I'm saying is you right now, the man who can go anywhere, the man who can live anywhere he wants. You say, "Hey, you told your dad to travel. Where would you travel? Where would Andrew go? If you could go anywhere tomorrow, not Tulum, right? If you can go anywhere tomorrow, where would you go? Would you visit Egypt?
Well, obviously everything has nuance. No, I wouldn't go to Egypt. That's hilarious that you said that.
Would you take a safari in Africa?
So we do a show every single day. So anywhere I would go, I would have the responsibility to our audience and to you and to our business to show up and perform. So like I would want to go to Bali. I love Bali, but the time zone is literally it's 12 hours later there. So we're recording this at 3:55 p.m. Eastern. It's 4 a.m. So it will be a shit show organizing the episodes. But dude, you learn a big thing about travel. When you travel, you learn a lot about yourself, a lot about culture. It kind of shifts your paradigm, right? Like you've been in New York your whole life. Your whole entire life you've been in New York. And you've dealt with the 4 seasons. You've dealt with the seasonal depression, the changing of the climate, daylight savings. What time does it get dark now? 5 p.m.
It's gonna be dark in 20 minutes.
Right.
It doesn't even like 5 o'clock. It's terrible. It's pitch black. I take my kid home from school and it's black already.
So one of my favorite quotes is work harder on yourself than you do your job, right? Like we all want to be successful financially. We all want to be successful. There's not a person out there who doesn't want to take care of his family and himself. But how can you do that if you're not at your best? And I truthfully don't believe that living in the Northeast, if you can, year round, you could perform at your best. Maybe that's an excuse, maybe not. But I think being able to travel, being able to be in warm climates, being in a place where you could exercise, see sunlight, I think it's a huge deal, Cage. And I think it affects like the people there too, right? Like I imagine in New York, have things been a little bit like, when the daylight savings, everyone's a little groggier. Have you felt that?
Oh, I'm groggy. I got a headache. It's crazy. So this could explain it. Is this why you think PSA doesn't have an office in the Northeast and why they run like a well-oiled machine? They're out in California in warmer weather. Is that why you think they are, the operation that they are?
A well-oiled machine.
Well-oiled machine.
They run as well as that whole state of California runs. They do a great job. I'm hearing amazing things.
Well, I mean,
good hands with Gavin or Newsom.
They had a big announcement, right?
Gavin.
They had a big announcement, right? I mean, you were telling me about it. It was a big announcement. And Andrew's like, "Oh, it's a big announcement. There's an announcement." So I went running to the PSA, homepage, and I'm like, "I don't see an announcement." I mean, I went running to the main page. I even logged into my account. I'm like, "Oh, maybe it's just announcement up there for account holders." I'm like, "There's no announcement here." And then I did. I saw some chatter on Twitter and on Instagram about PSA reopening up regular service, I think. And I'm like, so I go to the PSA. I'm like, "Where is it? Where is it?" And you finally were able to point me to where the announcement was. Where was it?
It was a screenshot under someone's comment who said like, I'll read it here, but like it was.
Nat Turner posted a sealed sticker package of Star Wars, a Star Wars pack from 1977, and someone was commenting like, "Hey, you're gonna grade those?" And he said maybe, and then I guess somebody else commented basically to the extent of, "I could care less about your goddamn Star Wars cards. When are you gonna start opening regular grading?" Right?
Yeah, it was. Will the website get updated about the backlog? This emoji. Sorry about the thin sleeves for stickers. Doesn't really tickle my fancy.
Yeah, thin sleeves for stickers.
But it's an interesting way to make an announcement.
Then what did he say? What was his announcement? Like, what did he actually say?
Regular opens in 2 weeks. But it's an interesting way to do an announcement if you really understand social media, right? Here we are like posting on our pages, making these really nice designs. But we've already talked about this. PSA has inelastic demand. People, for some reason, no matter what, no matter how much PSA has done wrong or right for them, they will sub their cards to PSA and they're waiting. And this is kind of like an interesting way, like letting word of mouth do its thing versus the company putting out an announcement.
Interesting. Inelastic demand is exactly the right phrase, because right after I saw this, right after you pointed me at this, in my stories, I forget which one it was, but one of the group subbers put in their story, opening back up regular subs through PSA. They said, "Start sending your cards to us now. We're not sure when it's going to open. We assume somewhere in the first week of December. We're not sure what the pricing is going to be. We're not sure of anything, but send us your cards." That was the post. Like, send it to us. We don't know how much it's going to be. We don't know when it's going to be, but we know it's going to be at some point in time. So send us your cards. And people will send the cards.
I was going to say, and people will send them.
Isn't that crazy?
And what does that – you always say this to me. You say this about the NFT world. Why would the Bored Ape Yacht Club not support each other? Why would the CryptoPunk community not support each other? They've only seen money. They've only seen profit.
Yep.
PSA has made a lot of people a lot of money. So there is a level of loyalty that comes with it. Not just people who've subbed their cards and sold them. They've made group subbers tons of money.
Yep. It's true.
Is there something to that?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something to that. And also, I mean, a lot of these group subbers are probably, the reason why I don't remember the name of the group subber is because it's probably not KK, who went out and did a lot of other stuff and got an SGC sub going and got a CGC sub going, and they're on Whatnot, and they're passing the time while PSA is not doing, bulk subs, doing other stuff. It's probably somebody.
Can I give a shout out real quick? So we have somebody, a member of, it's not the KK, but it's actually someone from our community, CD Cards, who bought a ton of our Lucas Tigers NFTs, comments on our stuff. Just a great guy. His name's Chris Layton, someone I got to know pretty well over the last 6 to 12 months. He just got I don't know if it's a job, an internship, a position, an opportunity, I think is the best way, to help KK with his social media. So nice. Shout out to Chris. Yeah. Pretty cool, right?
Listen, that's an expanding brand, 100%. I think he's got a live maybe tonight on Whatnot as part of a cool lineup. I think Mealy Pops is on there. He's on there. Maybe one other person's on there. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the hobby, but I guess, yeah, you're right. Back to the point. I mean, people are beholden to PSA. PSA is opening back up, and it's like, whoa, the gravy train. Let's get on this before we miss it. Which, listen, I'll be as honest as I can. I'm not doing it for $100, but when some bulk or value type of sub, this is not that. I don't think they're talking about. They're talking about regular now. Not talking about bulk or value or anything crazy like that.
$50 a card is what we're kind of assuming.
I don't know. Somebody was saying 100, but who the heck knows? We'll see. I mean, between 50 and 100. I don't know exactly.
Well, Express is 150.
150, yeah.
Regular is up to 99 maximum declared value, or 199, or 499.
I guess they're going to give details on it. I really don't. I don't know.
What did it used to be? Bulk was up to 99.
Bulk was $99. I was like, value subs, so maybe $199, $499. I honestly don't even remember. I was only doing bulk. I was only doing bulk subs.
I would say 50 is a fair price. They still make their profit, but at the end of the day, you have to leave some meat on the bone for the customer, right? Like if you're subbing a card and I'm sorry, I'm putting you to sleep.
Yeah.
If you sub a card and your $100 is your margin, are you even going to sub it?
No, but we'll see. I mean, listen, it doesn't really make sense guessing. If it's going to be 2 weeks, we'll know what's coming out as far as their subs. And, what the point of people will sub no matter what. I literally have thousands of cards just waiting. They're in sleeves. They're in, Card Saver ones, just in the basement, in boxes, ready to go for whenever PSA is opening up again. Because I used to do a bulk sub myself every month. Right? I used to do at least 100 cards a month, where I would, open boxes and send them in. It's been a long time since you could send cards in. So I'm saving cards up. Every box that you open, there you go. I got, a couple cards from that one, a couple cards from this one. And I had a bunch that I was going to send in March before they closed. The closing kind of caught me off guard. I have hundreds of cards that were sitting there ready to close, ready to send in, before they closed, and just didn't get them in. So they'll open at some point, and then they'll be dealing with a backlog soon enough, I'm sure.
What's your favorite season?
My favorite season?
Yeah, of the year. I'm still on the first combo.
I like Christmas time because I like the holiday season. I like the holiday season. It's the holiday season.
You make asking and answering questions so difficult.
So you rush our season, holiday season, like the holiday.
Spring, summer, fall, winter, bro. It's like
spring, summer, fall, winter.
I guess you could say Thanksgiving season, October, Halloween season, holiday season.
Well, I mean, holiday season I think I call it holiday season. I mean, I guess I'll pick winter for that because it's everyone's in kind of like a cool, like festive giving mood. Summer is really cool because I get to use my pool and the kids are in camp and they're not in school and there's a lot less stress. Both work-wise, school-wise, and that kind of stuff. Summertime is nice. I'll tell you, I liked winter more as a younger kid. I know my daughter likes winter and stuff. Now winter is just a pain in the ass. It's like, okay, how much Advil do I have to take to not hurt my back shoveling the snow? How many more years before the little version of me is big enough to actually move a shovel? Because he's too small to do it right now. But it's not too long. He can help. Like in a cute way where you can take a picture and, he can pick up a little bit of snow, but it's not actually doing much. But soon. My
dad would always get mad at me. My sister helped with the snow shoveling way more. Like, I never wanted to do it. I'm the kind of guy that, like, if I like an activity, I'll go 100%. Mm-hmm. If I hate it, I just won't do it. Like, I didn't mind raking leaves, but I hated shoveling snow. I hated it. I was just like, get a snowplow and shoot this shit out of here.
Yeah, I mean, so some of my neighbors offer to do it, but I'm stubborn. This after almost 500 episodes. I'd rather just shovel and be out there. Plus, I got to tell you, shovel is not the worst thing in the world. If you take your time, you can get like 2 good cigars in while you shovel. It's like alone time. You get to stay away from everybody. You smoke a cigar, you shovel. You shovel, you smoke a cigar. You smoke and shovel.
With one hand, one arm you shovel, and the other you have a cigar? You have like 3 arms?
You bite the cigar. You keep the cigar in your mouth, and you shovel like this. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not terrible for me. I enjoy it. That's the first couple of snow. Yeah, dude, that's you put the cigar in your mouth. You don't have to always hold it with your hand. You can put it in your mouth and you smoke a cigar. All right,
15 minutes in, we talked about PSA. We talked about the seasons. We talked about how awesome Cage is, and you truly are an awesome dude. So
The monthly auction for PWCC is starting up again. That's another cool topic. Yesterday was day one for the monthly auction. I think the monthly prices are starting to show exactly what we talked about last time around. That first month, just like the first month of premier auctions, was a little low, and then all of a sudden they hit their stride. They're doing a better job of advertising it. I don't know if you're on Instagram, you see kind of, hey, these are ending tonight, these are ending tomorrow. Here's day one, here's day two. There were some record prices last night, some Babe Ruth cards and stuff like that. And, it leads me into where my mindset is today without a specific play. It's, baseball vintage cards. And, it reminds me of a conversation. Andrew and I have a lot of conversations, man. It's really funny. People
are you
are
sick
always,
of me yet?
No, people are always wowed by the amount of content we put out there. Oh, you guys do an episode a day. And I sometimes tell people, I'm like, for every conversation that you hear of Andrew and mine on an episode, there's like 4 other ones that day that didn't get an episode. Like we could really, if we just recorded everything and made this a reality show,
24/7 live stream of Cages.
There's a lot of episodes. But Andrew was actually telling me about, something that, we did overlap this into, an episode about how Mickey Mantle cards. He had a theory about Mickey Mantle cards, that how that 52 Mantle, which Len Hart, nice pickup on that PSA 1, will always be something that people, go for. It will always be a card that people are striving for, but that the other year Mantles, maybe the 51 Bowman, which is actually his rookie, maybe the 53 Tops, which is a cool, drawing type of card. But beyond that, like no one's really searching out a 1964 Tops Mickey Mantle in high grade and, looking. And I tried to say, that people they do like these verticals. They buy Mickey Mantle from 51 Bowman to 69 Tops, and they do his whole playing career and stuff like that. And I started thinking about it, and, the thought was, I think he's right. I think he's right. And if he's right about Mickey Mantle, he's got to be right about almost everybody else, right? There will be cards that, that people will go after because they are these bellwethers. They are these pieces of art, these stalwarts of the hobby. But there will be ones that people don't go after. And, Mantle's an interesting one, right? Because think about other cards that are out there, right? You think about Jackie Robinson had a bunch of cards, right? But people don't buy the bunch of cards. It's either that 48 Leaf, or his Bowman cards from the beginning, just the first 1 or 2, just like it is with Mantle. You don't really see a ton of people go after 52 Tops, sure, because it's an iconic set. But you don't really see a bunch of people go after, and that's Jackie Robinson. You know what I mean? Same thing. Hank Aaron had a ton of cards. Dude played for a long time, played for like 2 decades. You don't hit that many home runs unless you play for a long time. What does that mean? And I guess my question for you is, if you take that theory, if you take that theory out for a little while, right? Like Mantle, he didn't have a ton of cards. He had a Tops card every year. Some of the years had all-star cards and that kind of stuff, right? And yet what you're saying is Mickey Mantle, who's like the icon of baseball, Yankee legend, you name it, that even his cards are not going to be like these, wow, sought-after stuff. My question, what does that mean to you for modern sports cards, even for the top guys down the road? We have people who are collecting things now, Michael Jordan, Luka, Giannis, LeBron. LeBron has 1 billion cards, right? He's got a lot of cards, and people know the Chrome, obviously, from 03. But we've been on here talking about how, hey, his second-year card is a cool card, right? It's an iconic card. He's dunking. He's doing a reverse dunk. There's Bowman.
The 2004 LeBron is my favorite cool LeBron card.
And you like it because of the way that it looks, right? And, you can make an argument. Maybe the Mantle second year is cool because of the way it looks. But then you have, all right, the chalk card, the chalk toss card. Like, that's relevant now for the people who are watching them and play. And then the one with Kobe on it. Okay, but let's start to talk about how many LeBron cards there are out there. Plus, add in the autographs and the exquisites and the different. Just there's so many of these things that are there. What does that mean for those cards? Should we be nervous? And then I will ask you from my own standpoint, right? If Mantle has these 20 years of cards and people don't go after him anymore, what is somebody like me who's even collecting something that I think is about as safe as it gets? Michael Jordan cards, right? Forget about just the rookie. Like there are people who spend way more money than me. PMGs, all right? Maybe that's a different category, right? Maybe that becomes the Mantle 52. But what about like all the other inserts? What about the natural born thrillers and the linchpins and the power in the key and the scoring kings and all those things? Are those going to run their course soon in 5-10 years? Should people stop buying those? What's your thought, man? Because you really got my brain, the hamster wheel in there with just your sentence about Mantle. Like, people are not going to buy the Mantle. You know, yeah, Mantle will be relevant. They'll buy his rookie and maybe one or two others, but the rest of them are basically garbage. What does it mean for the rest of the stuff?
First off, there is no human being on this planet, maybe Gary Vee, that asked a question with a statement. It's incredible. Because I actually think there was like 17 different questions.
There's a lot of questions in there, but you get the point. If you are a collector of modern cards, let's just say you're a collector of Luka.
Yeah, but I think that you're actually missing something.
Well, please
I'll tell you what I think you're missing, because you're smiling because you know how much he hates when I say that. I think you're missing something. Well, that's the point, Andrew. You tell me what I'm missing.
I'm trying to lead you here. I'm trying to like bring.
They're printing more dollars than they're reprinting those cards. So we're worried about, wait, there's too many LeBrons, there's too many Jordan cards. Well, you guys know this. It's compared to what, right? Compared to what? And the question I think is are these cards card values going to plummet? Are they going to stay the same or go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the amount of USD printed far exceeds the cards printed, right? Because they're not duplicated, they're not reprinting those cards. The supply on that standpoint is staying the same, but USD is being printed quite regularly. Okay. Now, at the same time, the industry is growing. So you have more money in the system and an industry that has more money pouring into it every single day, right? On a macro standpoint, sure, maybe the last 3 months it's been lower. The next 5 months is going to be higher. PSA regular opens up, maybe more money pours in. It ebbs and flows. But the point is the industry is growing and there's more money being printed. By that theory, a rising floor raises all ships. What
rising tide, yeah, rising tide.
Rising tide raises all ships. I think that they're going to go up in value relative to the US dollar. Maybe to a different currency they might not. If you peg it or compare it to ETH or BTC, it might stay even or even go down. But compared to the US dollar, when they're printing more money and the industry is growing, that money has to go somewhere, and it goes to the best of the best. So I know it seems off the top of your head like, wow, there's so many of these cards. Well, there's a tremendous amount more US dollars being printed and poured into that system and invested into that system. I know that's a little different take. That's a macro take.
Yeah,
Cage, I mean, when a company buys, let's say just take Fanatics, but let's even go down the road. When, PSA invests or buys or merges with Ken Golden, as you start seeing that's money, right? These companies took the cash that's on their balance sheet and they put it into an investment. That has a trickle down effect. That company hires employees get paid, employees reinvest into that industry. So that's how I actually see it from a very macro standpoint.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, should people be more focused if they are a collector of a certain person, right? Like if they're a collector of Patrick Mahomes, it's not even enough to say Mahomes rookies. Mahomes has 5,000 rookies, and, should people be investing in kabooms? Should people be investing in Color Blast and all these other cards? Is I guess my thought on it, right? And then again, the premise could just be wrong, because if U.S. dollars are being printed like crazy, right? Then maybe the Mantles for 20 years worth, since they're not printing any more of those and they're not grading any more of those, maybe they will go up in value. Definitely,
they have to.
Relative to
how can they not?
To the U.S. dollar at the very least, man. I mean, it's an interesting thing,
Kabooms,
right? So
I don't know. Kabooms are a new thing.
Kaboom. I like it. I'm going to switch my stance on it and start buying them all. I like them. Kabooms.
People have been completing Kaboom sets, man.
That's pretty crazy. Good for them. That's pretty crazy.
What's your take? I think it sounds like you have your own opinion on this. You're like, there's too many LeBron cards. I'm going to invest in vintage baseball.
Yeah. I mean, my take is I don't want to get into, talk about NFTs, because obviously our guys, don't love that. but I'm
keep
watching.
saying that. No one cares. It's our show. We can
I'm
do whatever
watching
we
just
want.
different asset cycles, right? Different types of assets, and what I've seen is exactly the same stuff over and over again, depending on timing, right? The market will boom, the market will explode, and basically, small stuff will peak, right? And maybe even run, maybe even have a better appreciation. Talking about like in the hobby now, base cards, silvers, they can have their time to run, right? But then they crash so much harder than everything else does, right? That those things that are they don't have a track record, they're more speculative. The population explodes on them, and what remains is what was there before. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, maybe it's a boring way of looking at it, but somebody asked me this weekend, "Oh, you do sports cards. If you can give one piece of advice, what would it be?" And I wanted to be like, just buy Mickey Mantle or just buy Babe Ruth, right? But I didn't. I said, listen,
That's a shit question, though. That's the issue. It's the question of like
it's an easy question. It's in order to have
it's a tough
fun
question.
With this.
It's the same question that you get when someone asks you, "What book do you read?" How do you answer that question?
Well, so the answer is always it depends on what you love, right? So what I said to the person was, if I told you to just go out and buy some Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth cards, and told you to put them, lock them away, you name it, you'd sell them. You'd sell them in 6 months or a year because you'd be bored. You might sell them at a loss. You wouldn't care because that's not getting you involved in this at all, right? So really, what I told them was it's about what size pie do you have and how do you want to split it up, right? And what do you watch? Do you watch baseball? Do you watch basketball? What sports do you watch? Do you watch football? Who's your team? And make sure you're putting something in there that
that's
you
not
will
one
enjoy.
piece of advice. That's a layered question. We get this question all the time.
How you do it is I say you have to buy some vintage baseball. You have to. That's the key answer.
But why?
One. Because no matter what, it stands the test of time. Better than anything.
But why?
Because it has transcended the art, the modern versus modern versus vintage question. Basically, no matter what comes out, no matter whether it's 80s baseball, junk wax era, chromes, refractors, silvers, paninis, whatever it is, this stuff is always there. It's always the baseline. It's always the floor, right? So,
but what if I like shiny things?
You can buy
shiny. I like
stuff.
basketball.
You can buy shiny and you can buy basketball.
Do you see how this is?
Buy that.
Why I'm asking, acting like a dunce is, I think the quality of your life is based on the questions you ask. And I think that's a very poor question that comes off as very intelligent because the answer is so layered. The answer should be you have to fall in love with learning this new industry and this new space is actually the answer because there's so much nuance.
Yeah, but people
there
don't want to do that. Answer. People don't want to do that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing as when someone asks you, what book do you watch? What book do you want to read? I was thinking of movies for you because someone asked you, what book should I read? Real quick. You're not serious about reading because it's not one book that you should read. It's you should fall in love with the habit of reading and see.
Yeah, but no one's going to do that. No one's going to do that.
Stop saying no one.
No one's going to do it. It's because the question is not being asked by. But the question is not being asked by people who want to immerse themselves in it. It's the same people who want to go to Charles Schwab or Edward Jones and say, I have $100,000 invested for me. They don't want to research the market. They don't want to figure out what stocks to buy. And, all I'm telling people is you need to diversify. You need to put stuff into different things. And the more that I look at the hobby, the more I am in, goats. And I said I wouldn't talk about NFTs, but NFTs went up, they went down. I'm seeing stuff go up. And what I see is when new money comes in, it's not going to be in on those small projects. New money is very rarely going to come in and buy a Zion Prism. Right? When new big money comes in, they want the best. They want the biggest. They want your apes and your crypto punks. When new money comes in, they want your Mickey Mantle. They want your Michael Jordan. They want your LeBron. They want your established stuff. They want your stuff that they can talk about. And it's funny too because it's very different than what a lot of the hobby is about. The people who are doing the grind, the flippers, let's call them, right? The Gary V disciples, who you and I have correctly pointed out that those guys, they don't just care about making the money. They care about being first, right? There's an added value to saying, I found that one. I nailed it. Like, I was ahead of the curve on that one. When big money comes in, they don't want to be ahead of the curve. They want to be able to say, I got this. Check it out. It's cool. I'm brag about it. Most people are not bragging about, at least when you first buy it, you're not bragging about Michael Porter Jr. You might brag about it 2 years later if he turns into something good.
Sure. Key, but like you give that person all that advice and they go to Charles Schwab and they give Charles Schwab the $100,000. They invested in 10 years. Magically, they have $1 million.
Yep.
But they don't have any of the knowledge or experience. So you've heard this quote, a fool and his money are soon parted.
Yes, I have.
You have. And I am the fool because oftentimes I make terrible decisions. But I don't go ask people, where should I invest? I go ask experienced people, what do I learn from this investment? I invested in Tim Duncan Topps paper and they went down, even though he's a GOAT. Why is that? Yeah. So I get the knowledge. So at least I converted that loss of money or into something that's called knowledge and wisdom.
So why did Tim Duncan's paper rookies go down?
I think it's partially because he doesn't have a big brand. I think it's partially because he's out of sight, out of mind. I think it's partially because Topps isn't preferred. Topps Chrome is. I think it's a little bit of those.
Tim Duncan, one of the greats.
Tim Duncan, one of the greatest.
And nobody cares.
Top 5 in my book.
And
I'm starting a team. He's on. Dude, Chris Hodge and Cardboard Chronicles. Why is he implanting my Josh? Stop trying to make LeBron happen. They were having this conversation, and this is where I get pissed. They're having this conversation, and someone screenshot is like, can Steph Curry be on LeBron's level? And they put in their story, to get on LeBron and MJ's level, Steph Curry needs to do X, Y, Z. Stop artificially putting LeBron on MJ's level. Tell us what Curry needs to do to get on LeBron's level, but stop putting LeBron in MJ's category. You guys know it's not true. You guys know it deep down it's not true. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have sold that exquisite card. You would not have sold that exquisite card. Because you know LeBron, as great as he is, it's not a shot fired. I love both of those guys. And I got to meet Chris Hodge at the Bleecker event. I think he believes that too. House of Jordans. LeBron is great, but he's not on MJ's level. He's not on MJ's level.
Wyatt Earp coming out over here. Wyatt Earp, it's Tombstone. Andrew's going to be your Huckleberry. I love it, man.
What are you talking about? Huckleberry Finn?
Not Huckleberry Finn. You've never seen the movie Tombstone?
No.
With Val Kilmer?
I don't think I've seen 90% of the movie.
I'll
tell you my genre of movies. My genre of movies are comedy, documentary, or stand-up comedy.
Right. And Cheech and Chong. Have you ever seen Cheech and Chong movies? No? Mm-hmm. You would love those. You would love Cheech and Chong movies.
Oh, and like gang mafia movies are like my all-time favorites. And they don't have to be great. Like Savages, that was like a drug gang mafia type of cartel movie. And I was like, this is kind of sick.
All right, it's a good movie. You like rom-coms. I get it. You're a rom-com guy.
I do like rom-coms.
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right.
Because they make you feel good and they make you laugh.
First step's admitting it. That's the thing.
You know what rom-com just like it's blown my mind, and it's one of those rom-coms that's left an impression on me. And I'll tell you, I used to watch this with my now.
I'm excited for this one.
And it's like my favorite movie. That's some of my favorite.
The Notebook.
That's a good one. But
Love Actually.
No, The Breakup.
The Breakup
With Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn.
That's a horrible movie.
So it's
like
hilarious.
Watching my life. My wife and I watched that. We were like, it's like watching our lives. It was horrible.
Right. Because they don't get back together at the end.
Yeah, at the end.
And you're like, what the fuck? And then at the very end, they like have this look at like they're still in love, but they turn and they walk away and they're like, I hope I see you soon. Like I still get the chills. I'm like, dude.
I don't know. Okay, I've seen that movie. It's a good one.
I love the scene where Vince Vaughn is playing video games and the guy comes in. He's like, apple martinis. That's her drink. 2's good. 3, she'll get sloppy. You'll be a babysitter. and then the other guy comes in and he starts gaming with him. And he's like, I can't take credit for it. It's these guys. It's these guys putting in their training on their digital little hats. It was
number 99. Gretzky. 99. I'm going to make his head bleed. Watch. I'll make his head bleed.
I love
That's
that
it.
movie.
Because it ties back. He's playing NHL hockey in Swingers.
Does it really? Look at
He's
that.
playing NHL
That's
hockey.
kind of cool.
I'm gonna make it's Gretzky. I'm gonna make his head bleed. Watch, Mikey. Watch. I'm gonna make his head bleed. Make his head bleed. Yep, little Swingers action right there. He's playing hockey. Vince Vaughn does those little tie-ins on his movies from one movie to the next. Always double down. And Swingers double down, right? 11. You mean to always double down. Remember? And they have a license plate on their limo. Double down 11. It's pretty funny. Jimmy the Driver.
I would say Vince Vaughn is the top 3 favorite actors of mine. I don't know if he's the greatest actor. You know how people like rate actors. I don't know how you do that because it's so subjective. It's like art, but Vince Vaughn is a top 3 for me. Fucking hilarious.
Listen, he plays himself, is what they say. When you play yourself, it's authentic, and I guess it's a little easier to do, and it comes off. Authentic's the right word. I'll say it twice. It's why this works, man. You're being authentic here, right? It's a little raw. You know what you know, and you know what you don't know. And I got to tell you.
I know that you would be happier in a warmer, more tropical climate where you get more sunlight. And
man, you know how much I sweat when it's hot? Forget about it. I'm a big dude. You don't want to deal with this sweat. You don't want to deal with this sweatiness. I'm a sweater.
Are you? This is like the cow calling the kettle black. I've now purposely started messing these up just to see what people say.
The cow, the cow calling the kettle black. I love it.
Dude.
It's awesome stuff.
Dude, I almost got kicked out of the boxing gym because I sweat so much. So I understand what sweating too much is.
It's perspiration, I mean, this is the deal.
I can't go for a walk without being drenched.
So I woke up today mad because in PWCC, while they did a good job, I didn't even look at last night's auctions, and I saw there was some baseball vintage that I missed out on, some Babe Ruth stuff. Tonight I think is basketball, so I'll try not to miss that stuff because maybe there'll be some bargains for me. But
let's do 2 rapid fire things after you're done with the PWCC.
No, I'm just continuing my portfolio swing away from modern and into more vintage, more and it's funny what I consider
swinging
vintage.
On your mind.
That's swinging like Tarzan or Pitfall. You ever played a game Pitfall? You ever play Pitfall video game? That was like an original Atari game. It was cool. You swing across. No.
It would be cool to collect, and I don't know how you could do this, but like old vintage arcade games. If they could have a market, I think they would be so in demand.
I'm sure they do.
They're so hard to ship. They're impossible to ship.
Oh, you talk about like the actual standee games, like in an arcade, not like a video cartridge.
And like the first edition of those.
All right, when you went to the
first
video,
edition,
give me the 2 video machines that you would play when you were in the arcade. If it was empty and you were the first one there, you had a handful of quarters. What would you go play?
I had a traumatic childhood. I didn't speak English, so no one liked me. So I just played soccer, and I didn't get invited to any birthday parties.
That's very sad.
Yeah, but Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man or foosball, but foosball's not an arcade game.
The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was cool. Yeah, hockey's cool too. You lived a deprived life. Ninja Turtles was awesome because it had 4 spots on the console. It was one of the first ones that had like 4, so you could play with a whole bunch of friends, and everybody was a different turtle. So if you wanted to be Donatello, you could use the staff, and that was a cool weapon because you got to hit people from further away, right? You wanted to be Leonardo, you had the 2 swords. Raphael had the katanas, and Michelangelo had the nunchucks. He was orange, and everybody got to be their own turtle, and you went after Bebop and Rocksteady, and then eventually Shredder.
I think you gave a play on the Ninja Turtles, right?
I did. I gave a Ninja Turtles play.
1989 Topps.
I gave the Ninja Turtles play. I gave a Mario rookie card in the Donkey Kong, which people made some money on. Yeah, we did some fun video game stuff. From like stickers, Donkey Kong stickers. Terminator 2 was a sick video game with a gun. But before that, Operation Wolf was awesome. That was great. It was one of the first ones with like a machine gun right there on the
Cage. Let's say we could poll our listeners, right?
Yeah.
Let's just anonymous poll. Do you think that they prefer this episode to an NFT episode?
Yes.
We haven't talked about sports cards at all.
Well, we did a little bit, but I was trying to make a point, and I think I talked myself out of the point in the middle of it, and kind of like knock myself right off my argument because I mean it happens. You start with a premise that like the older stuff is not gonna last, so the newer stuff is gonna have trouble too. But then I think I took myself into, I might go out and buy a Mickey Mantle now from like 1963 with a cool wood border. I'm like, why the hell not? They're not making any more of them. But yeah, I mean, I like this, man. I do. So give me, you want rapid fire? Shoot the rapid fire. Let's go.
2 things. Mac Jones is the new Tom Brady. True or false?
Too soon to tell, right? The Patriots fans and people looking for the next Tom Brady want that to be true. I can't say it's false, right? Because I think he might actually be better than Brady was this many games into his career. His completion percentage is great. I was talking about that on yesterday's show, whatnot, about how in most of his games he throws 60-something%. He seems to start every game off with 8 or 9 straight completions. He makes the throws, and he also is not in very good shape. Why it's tough to say he's the next Brady. Think of the things that Brady has sacrificed in his life. Think of the things that he's done to get to be Tom Brady for as long as Tom Brady is there. And it's amazing to say it that way, the sacrifices, right? Because you think, oh, he hasn't sacrificed. He's got more money than anyone. The dude just doesn't eat bread. I don't know if I can go a day without eating bread. He just, he
People don't
40,
get it, huh, Cage? People
the
don't
sacrifice
get
of it, right? I mean, he started off not in shape, and Mac Jones famously at the draft, they said, oh, it's just like Tom Brady. He's going to the Patriots, not in shape. Who knows? Jones is going to be making more money now than Brady was making early in his career. He might even have more success. Brady had a lot of success early on too, but who knows what's going to happen? Probably more endorsements for somebody like Mac Jones now because he's thought of as the next Brady. And who knows if he's going to have that eye of the tiger, that thing that makes Brady the GOAT is that he, even though he had won Super Bowls and won awards, he stayed after it and continues to stay after it. So that's tough. I'd like it. I think Mac Jones is good, man, and we need another Brady. It's good for the hobby.
I love what you said about sacrifice because one of my favorite quotes is, what do you want and what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? Yeah. And it kind of puts it into perspective. Second, what do you make of this stat? Okay. So the Houston Rockets are averaging 1.05 assist to turnover ratio. And in the last 3 games, they are at 0.94. So just for people out there, that means for every assist to turnover. Okay, so for every 1 assist, they have. Let me rephrase this. Let me make sure I get this right. The ratio, assist to turnover. Okay, 1.05. So they have 1.05 assists to every turnover. Basically, 1-to-1 ratio of assist to turnovers.
Yep. So what do I think about that? About once a semester, as a social chair of my fraternity, we would have a mixer with the girls' rugby team. And my fraternity was a bunch of drinkers. And the girls' rugby team, as you can imagine, also did their share of drinking. And about 2 hours into this mixer, it was the Houston Rockets. It was sloppy. So that's what you got with the Rockets. It's a young team. They play fast. They try to push pace. They make a lot of mistakes. They don't really have a leader on the team. They got a bunch of people who they're looking to make plays. They don't have a well-defined offense. They're probably not coached that well, although it's difficult to coach that many young players. And when you have a lot of athletes trying to make plays, sometimes they make mistakes. They make mental mistakes. They throw the ball away. That's bad, though, to have basically the same amount of assists as turnovers. That you have to try to be that bad.
It's worse than the Sixers. The process. Remember the Sixers during the process when they got blown out by the Warriors by 55, and then the Clippers by 55 again. So just to give you guys context, the Spurs are 2-1. Mm-hmm. Phoenix is 2-1. Charlotte is 1.88 to 1. Golden State is 1.8. There's not anyone even close. The closest one is Orlando, who's 1.3 to 1.
What do you think of the Hornets last night? Did a big win for the franchise kind of let them know they can hang with anybody, or it's just eventually Golden State's got to lose a game here and there?
I don't really believe in big games in the NBA. Like there, I would say a big stretch if you could go 20 games in a row and you win 18-2, because remember 1 week is the equivalent to an NFL season. So I do believe in the NFL. 1 game could be hey, we're a young team, we believe in us. What it did show me, and it's the LaMelo effect, it's the Miles Bridges effect. They're a little grittier than people give them credit for.
Especially Rozier. That's become almost he's not gonna be their star, But it's like the glue.
Rozier needs to go. Rozier,
but
he had a
he
good game, but Rozier needs to go.
But if he can take the veteran step back, maybe even be a sixth man kind of, role where he can be like the adult presence there. Believe it or not, he's not that old. Where he's not trying to force a shot. They're not running an offense through him, but he's a steadying force when there are close games. I think it could be helpful.
Like
Almost Derrick Rosie. Or Jamal Crawford. I mean, he can come
Rozier's
off the bench.
not talented enough.
Crawford's good. Crawford's
so
a good comparison.
I agree, but so Crawford was wildly inefficient, but like it works somehow. Rozier is really inefficient.
Yeah,
really inefficient. Like he goes off. Last night he went off, but
they just don't have they don't have like a veteran presence there. You know what I mean? Like
Gordon Hayward.
I guess Gordon Hayward. I mean, Hayward just seems like he's quiet. You ever see Hayward blow up? You ever see Hayward like get angry at somebody for missing a play in a tight spot?
Dude, when he dislocated his ankle in that first play of the first game, he wasn't even like blowing up. Then he was just chilling.
Sometimes
Gordon Hayward's an interesting guy, huge gamer. So really interesting guy. Like it's funny how like the gaming NFT space doesn't cross over with sports cards, right? Because like you would think like he'd have a lot of fans. People stream his stuff on Twitch. Impressive with the Warriors. Do you know who they play next?
No, who?
They play the Nets tomorrow.
So that's probably looking ahead.
Looking ahead. If you guys watch that game, they kind of looked like a mess in the fourth quarter. I'll give you guys my play. So sometimes I give you guys high, very liquid cards. Anyone can get these. This is a card I don't think that everyone is going to be able to get, but I saw one out there and I thought it was a steal. Okay. So I believe in the gold rush, right? Like Topps Chrome Gold, Kaboom Gold, Prism Gold has had its moment, right? It's interesting. Topps Gold hasn't. Not the Chrome, the Topps, like the paper gold, right? I think it's partially because it's higher pop. But here's a card that if you guys are interested, you could get someone that I think is going to be 1 and 2 MVP in the NBA this year. For $50, you could get his gold card. And it's the 2009 Topps paper Kevin Durant card. It's in a PSA 8, newly graded, very hard card to grade, very difficult. What do you think that card should be worth, and what do you think it is worth?
Well, what's 09? Was it like third year? Is there like something iconic on the card or something like that? Is it something cool? Like, is there a cool pose? Is somebody on it with them? Like, why go 09 instead of 08 or 10?
Why go 09? Because it's presented to me.
Because there's actually one there. Like you see one on like eBay. Okay.
Yes. I think you could play it. I think his rookie year is going to be drastically harder to get it at gold. Yeah. 09, 08, 2010. I think pose is probably more important. It's a horizontal card. He's going up for a layup. It's a really nice looking card. I could share it on the screen if you want.
Yeah, cool. Always like I can't picture it in my brain. So it's always cool to have a.
But first, guess how much do you think it would be in a PSA 8, 2009? Chrome.
A gold,
not Chrome, paper.
Gold paper, $250.
So I'll pull it up for you guys right now.
Look at that.
$50.
That's a cool card.
It's a pretty cool card, right? It's not like you're not going to break a bank. It's not his rookie card. Remember, all of these Topps Gold, not the Topps Chrome, the Topps Gold are numbered to the year that they're at. So this is out of 2009. But I think it's a cool looking card. It's that horizontal one. Here it is. Nice looking card, Durantula. Take it for what it's worth in his OKC jersey. He looks young. $31 on auction on June 20th. There's one listed right now for $50.
Can I tell you, just a little like bonus. I really like that card. That's a cool card. It's at the rim. Something that I've started to buy. So with it, make it a play. I'll stop buying them. Maybe you guys will get the benefit of it. 03 exquisite RPAs. Can you just type in eBay 2003 exquisite RPA and then do lowest price instead of highest price and see if you could share the screen with me, right? So guys, here's the deal, right? I'm giving Andrew something to do. But I started thinking the other day, there are people out there who complete sets of, let's call it iconic cards. The precious metal gems came to my mind because Nat Turner's making a set. There are people out there who are buying these things. And I have some of like the worst ones out there, right? And yet Ronnie Cycli wasn't even a rookie. Ronnie Cycli PMG Red is like $1,000 in good condition. Travis Best I have. I have Mookie Blaylock, which I think is pretty cool because that's the original band name for Pearl Jam, right?
What about Corey Maggette?
Corey Maggetti's cool too. But so pull up the 03 Exquisite RPA, right? And
The search RPA or rookie patch auto?
You could either one is fine. And I started thinking to myself, guys, that Exquisite set, it's got to be thought of in the same vein as the PMGs, right? So look at that. So you have the 2003. Go ahead and you can pull up any of these, right? Reese Gaines is a good one to pull up.
David West.
Right? David West, another guy who actually played. So David West, right? So that's an
People
Australian
forget he was on the Warriors team with Curry and Clay and Iguodala. Remember that team?
So this is a great example, right? So David West, and here is a buy it now. You can get it for less than this. Look at that cool color patch, right? It's got purple, it's got yellow, white, right? And it's an 0304 RPA, the same one that you have the LeBron for 7 figures, right? And there are several of these, whether it's David West, Leandro Barbosa, there's a bunch of guys. If you go up, there's even
ones that are
cheaper
guy.
than
This is Cage's spirit animal.
Boris Diaw, I was talking about him yesterday, and these are ones that are graded BGS 9. I'm just talking about getting them raw. If you want to get BGS, that's great too. But I was thinking to myself, if the PMGs, which there's 100 of, right? What are these numbered out of? You see the numbered on them? They're numbered out of 99.
25 out of 99.
Yeah, well, there's ones that are 25. There's also jersey numbers. Out of 99 is the one that's thought of as it's kind of like National Treasures out of 99. So you're out of 99, right? So you look at these out of 99. There was one right there, right? So Reese Gaines, $80, right? That one there, Reese Gaines, $70. I was thinking maybe people will make these sets. And maybe people will want to have an 03, 04 Exquisite RPA just because it is thought of as an art piece. Look at this cool card with a multicolored patch in it for $200. There's another one, Boris Diaw, right? You talk about David West, right? I mean, guys who played, West was a good player with cool patches, you name it. I started thinking, Sam Cassell, maybe this is a play. The way that, don't get into the limited logos and stuff like that. I'm just keeping it specifically on RPA.
Maybe
but that's a different one.
Oh,
that's different. That's a limited logos, yeah. I mean, it's a cool one too, but it doesn't carry the same, weight and whatnot. I mean, it's a cool one if you want to do that one too. The thought is, because Andrew and I do a collectible show, we do a fractional report on Sundays, and we've talked for the last couple of weeks about the price of sealed wax of the 03, 04 Exquisite, and a case sold in Golden for almost $1 million, a $3 case, right? And there's a box currently, in PWCC. And I started thinking to myself, like, the reason why this set is talked about this way, it's thought of the same way as that PMG. And I'm like, wait, 99, 100? PMGs, they don't come up, for sale. Even like I said, the crappy guys, your Travis Best. So that RPA set, maybe it has a shot of becoming something like those PMGs thought of as art, where there are people trying to build the sets, especially if you have the LeBron, right? Especially if you have the stuff, even in low grade. And I said to myself, you can't get PMGs for $50, $60, but you can get one of these here, $50, $60, $80, $100, $250. I was thinking about it, but now you can do it too. There's enough of them out there where everybody can go ahead and get them. It's just kind of one of those plays that I had that, while everybody's chasing Kaboom, for the price of a blaster, you can go back and get one of these. So that kind of set. Who knows?
And they're good players. Like, people forget 2000s had some really good players. Amari Stoudemire's
beast. Disrespectful dunker.
He really was. He looked angry.
He was. Well, there you go, guys. Another full episode of Lucas, Tigers and Bronze. Thanks for hanging with us, especially on my weird brain tangent there of vintage versus modern. And, it's funny. This is what makes collecting fun, right? And it's why my collection is ever changing, swinging from modern to vintage and then back, and changing the allocation, what percentage of each. Because any given day you can see a sale, you can see a trend. You switch it up, so it makes it fun. Hope you enjoyed it, guys.